Chapter 1071. Back to the Original Universe Translator. Myoibo Studio Editor. Myoibo Studio Luo. Feng had known that Ancestor of the Space Beast Alliance wanted to admit him, but he hadn't expected Ancestor to be so straightforward. No. Luo Feng answered without hesitation. It would have been ridiculous for him to say yes. The human race treated him with great generosity. And besides, after 100,000 years, Earthlings had been spread across the entire Ganwu universe, and they had blended in the human race family. Besides, Luo's family had had people reach all the regions in the universe. How was it possible for him to break away from the human race like that? He needed to think about his parents and his wife. Ancestor was dazed for a moment but then nodded. I almost forgot that you're still fairly new. Your family and friends are still alive. Yes. Luo Feng nodded. How about this? Ancestor continued. Your golden horned beast can join my Space Beast Alliance. He can be known as Golden Mountain Knight. This won't affect anything you have within the human race, just as you can call for help on the original stars as a human and you can also call for help as a space beast. From now on, you'll have two powers to support you. However, said Luo Feng, I'll also bear responsibilities from both sides. It was beneficial for Luo Feng to join a new power. However, he would also bear new responsibilities. He understood why Ancestor wanted him to join the Alliance. Once he became a Universe Knight, his godly body would be close to some Universe Masters. As he had reached the perfect life gene level, and together with ultimate techniques of Universe Masters, a top-tier set of true treasures, and pinnacle true treasures, he would be much stronger. And once he became a Universe Master, he would rival the top-tier Universe Masters like Primal Chaos City Leader. Besides, he had Sitting Mountain Guest behind him to help. How could he not draw Luo Feng to his side? Yes. The Alliance gives you assistance, and meanwhile, you will need to bear some responsibilities. Ancestor looked at Luo Feng. Great power comes with great responsibility. What you think? No problem. I can bear them. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Wonderful. Ancestor nodded with satisfaction. It was better for him to have more help on the path of great beings when he was trapped or in danger, and if the Hong Alliance couldn't help him in time, he would now have the Space Beast Alliance. Besides, Luo Feng had gone to Space God Mountain once, and the members of the Space Beast Alliance were like brothers, contrary to the strict hierarchy in the human race. Just when Ancestor and Luo Feng reached an agreement, Sitting Mountain Guest walked towards them. I didn't hear your conversation, he said, but it seems that you've successfully admitted him, Space Beast Ancestor. Master? Luo Feng greeted Sitting Mountain Guest. Luo Feng, did that old man give you some benefits? Asked Sitting Mountain Guest. He was being quite blunt. Luo Feng was smart enough to say, not yet. Sitting Mountain Guest turned around and glared at Sitting Mountain Guest. Your Alliance will definitely bestow a Universe Knight with great potential a true treasure if you find one. How come this disciple of mine didn't get one? It's lucky for you space beasts that my disciple has joined your alliance. Ancestor was dazed. I just gave. Don't mention the beast god armor, Sitting Mountain Guest scolded. That was because of the bet you lost. That's not something your alliance gave to Luo Feng. There was indeed, a rule within the Alliance, that a Universe Knight with great potential would be bestowed with a true treasure if he didn't have one. However, the Alliance wouldn't waste true treasures if the individual in question had already had one. They needed to earn them through their contributions to the race. As for Luo Feng, he had a top-tier set true treasure, so obviously, he didn't lack true treasures. Ancestor looked at Luo Feng. Ha ha. It makes sense. Luo Feng has already stood at the top among the universe overlords. It is indeed lucky for my alliance to have him. Luo Feng, you should know that. No matter which power you join, you need to exchange true treasures with your contributions. Even if your great potential deserves true treasures, the one bestowed to you won't be precious. Luo Feng nodded. It was like Bark Mirror Emperor. He only had an ordinary true treasure armor. Your golden-horned beast doesn't need true treasures anymore, said Ancestor, but your original Earthling body is better at close combat. I know that you've been using spiritual force weapons. I'll give you a senior true treasure that's a weapon for close combat. Thank you, Ancestor, Luo Feng responded. He would definitely take a free true treasure. It was more than enough to have a senior true treasure weapon for close combat. So stingy of you, Sitting Mountain Guest murmured. Sitting Mountain Guest, unlike you, I have an entire Space Beast Alliance to take care of, Ancestor said with resignation. If you think the true treasure I gave him is not good enough, you should give something better. Rest assured, I'll definitely give him a better one. Sitting Mountain Guest glared at Ancestor jokingly. What kind of close combat weapons do you need? Ancestor asked Luo Feng. A sword, said Luo Feng. I'd like it to look like this. He pointed to the sky, and his godly power concentrated, forming the shape of a ghost sword. I don't have one that's exactly like that. How about this one? Ancestor waved his right hand and transported a true treasure from somewhere else. The sword was slightly bent. The handle was purple, and there were complex patterns on it. It looked like a two-handed sword in the shape of a saber. The blade part is close to the one you want, but the handle is longer, said Ancestor. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Great. Take it. Ancestor smiled, and the ancient blade flew toward Luo Feng. He penetrated it with his godly power, and information flooded his mind. The sword was called Cutting Pearl Sword. Cutting Pearl. Luo Feng held the sword and slashed the space. See. La. There were cuttings left in the space it touched, which satisfied Luo Feng. It was like the first time when he used the ghost blade on Earth, which was exciting. This is the information about our Space Beat Alliance. Ancestor threw a golden book towards Luo Feng. There are many other gathering places for our alliance aside from Space God Mountain. Every gathering has a portal to Space God Mountain. You can leave some keepsakes in the gathering places and transport yourself there, and thus, to Space God Mountain anytime. Be sure to come back to Space God Mountain sometimes, at least to get keepsakes from Golden Horn Master and Xuan Mi Master, so that you can get some help from them when you're in danger. You belong to the bloodline of the Golden Horned Beasts. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. There were different bloodlines in Space Beast Alliance, and the leaders of his bloodline were Golden Horn Master and Xuan Mi Master. I'll leave with Luo Feng, then? Sitting Mountain Guest asked. Sure. Ancestor smiled. I'll send you two back. It'll be faster. Hong. Long. Space and time became twisted. Suddenly, Luo Feng and Sitting Mountain Guest disappeared and reappeared elsewhere. We've been transported back to the original universe, said Sitting Mountain Guest. I'll separate us from the universe operation law temporarily. Sitting Mountain Guest looked at Luo Feng and added, after a while, when the universe operation law senses the change in your life gene level, there'll be a sharp change in your golden-horned beast. Your godly body will become significantly stronger and will reach the perfect level like last time. But there won't be inherited techniques this time. No inherited techniques. Luo Feng was confused and disappointed by this. That's right. Sitting Mountain Guest nodded. Bestowal of a supreme inherited technique is a great opportunity for great beings who reach the perfect life gene level. Their minds will be drawn to the center of the universe origin, and they'll receive an inheritance. Your mind has already been given an inheritance, so you don't get a second chance. Nobody does. Luo Feng understood. Besides, it means nothing to you. Sitting Mountain Guest shook his head. One supreme inherited technique is enough. And you've created an ultimate technique of universe masters. If you need more techniques, just create them. Luo Feng nodded. When you can drive Star Tower, you won't need any supreme inherited techniques. Sitting Mountain Guest smiled. When you can drive all the complex engravings in Star Tower, those techniques will mean nothing to you. Luo Feng nodded. Although he was already a high achiever in techniques, those engraving sculptures in Star Tower still looked quite intricate. No wonder it was a supreme true treasure. If he would be able to use Star Tower in the future, all he needed to do was drive the engravings in Star Tower, as Sitting Mountain Guest said. This is a token. Sitting Mountain Guest threw Luo Feng a token that looked like a blue stone. Luo Feng took it. It was specially made by me, and it's an ordinary true treasure, said Sitting Mountain Guest. Just put your mind into it if you need to connect to me. I'll receive it instantly. Okay, said Luo Feng. Go back to your god country now. It'll take you a lot of energy to become more than 55,000 miles tall from 600 miles, and you need to prepare those energies by yourself. Luo Feng nodded. He knew that the universe operation law would only evolve his godly body. As for the energy he needed for evolution, last time, it was world energy that remote ocean had absorbed to evolve. Go, said Sitting Mountain Guest. Yes, teacher. Luo Feng could clearly sense his god country and where his original earthling body was. Suddenly, his original earthling body sent an undying slave through god country. When Luo Feng left in the green light of god country transportation. After 3 teleportations through space ripples, Luo Feng returned to his god country. He could already feel the power from universe operation law. Hong Long Hao, golden-horned beast, wearing beast god armor, roared above the remote ocean. Pai Li Pa La. His bones, flesh, horns, and muscles started to bulge sharply, and he began to absorb all the godly power in the boundless remote ocean.